Allison Bins. I have the great privilege of serving as the co-chair of Art by Freedom, a new initiative of the Four Freedoms Park Conservancy. Art by Freedom is dedicated to commissioning public art that champions human rights and brings Franklin D. Roosevelt's four freedoms: the freedom of expression, the freedom to worship, the freedom from want, and the freedom from fear, into dialogue with our present moment. Our goal is to use this space to inspire reflection, conversation, and action. We think of this park as a platonic agora to argue the points, to talk about history, to have a real conversation about where we are and where we're going. So I want to thank you all tonight for joining us to celebrate the opening of Ai Wei Wei's installation Camouflage. Your presence here really helps to bring these ideals to life. It's incredible to see such a large and diverse crowd come out for Ai Wei Wei. I want to give a little overview of the program so you guys know what you are getting into. I'm first going to present our inaugural award to Ai Wei Wei, and then we're going to have a Q&A conversation with Wei Wei to talk about what this project means to him, how it fits into his artistic practice, and sort of where we're going from here. After that, we are going to honor Barbara Shattuck-Cohn, our indomitable leader at Four Freedoms Park Conservancy, who served with a lot of honor to this park and has worked so hard to keep this park going. And lastly, we are launching today a new variation of Martha Graham's Lamentation. At the end of this program, I'm going to invite you to walk to the very end of the park to the room to see Peju Chien-Pat launch the Graham 100 for the 100th year anniversary of Martha Graham, with a special performance that was done in collaboration with Ai Wei Wei and Camouflage. So that is the program for the evening. We're going to hope to move it along pretty quickly. This program required a village. It required a large village, and a lot of the village is here tonight, and I really, really appreciate it. I want to make a special shout out to Leslie Wright, who you will hear from a little bit later, from New York State Parks, who was an absolute hero on being able to produce a public art installation in 10 months or less, which, by the way, was an insane idea. If you are wondering how a small park conservancy managed to score one of the world's biggest artists and greatest reflection of human rights with a full-time staff of 2, I am happy to tell you the story over cocktails later. I also want to thank Aggie Gund, who cannot be here tonight. She is my co-chair of Art by Freedom. She is an inspiration to everyone who knows her. I'm not going to cry. I am going to cry. Her curator, Nicole Gallo, is here tonight. Nicole was here for the very first time we walked through this park with Ai Wei Wei on November 1st of last year. Aggie is a shining light for arts, philanthropy, and social justice. And I wrote her a note this morning because I knew she couldn't be here, and I said, it feels like a miracle to see this all come together. But it actually wasn't a miracle, because when things got hard, Aggie quadrupled her financial commitment to this because she believes in foregrounding social justice and human rights and the ability of arts to reach people. And she's an absolute hero. And I know she's not here, but please give her a round of applause. I also want to thank the staff of the Four Freedoms Park Conservancy. Like I said, we have 2 full-time employees that have managed to pull this off, and in addition to a village around that. And I'm so grateful for Howard Axel and Katrina Pence and Zoe Pierman. It's a phenomenal job. And lastly, I want to thank Wei Wei for coming from so far away, for collaborating on this project in Seattle, in Berlin, in New York, in any number of places, and also the incredible staff that he brought with him, one of whom was a key cook for the Thanksgiving feast they had for me on my first studio visit last year. And I really appreciate the amount of time that his incredible team has put into making sure this project was complete. So with that, I'm going to start the formal part of our presentation, and that is to introduce the Art by Freedom Award. Tonight, as we gather here at Franklin D. Roosevelt's Four Freedoms Park, we are reminded of the timeless vision that President Roosevelt set forth in 1941, a world founded on four essential freedoms: the freedom of expression, the freedom to worship, the freedom from want, and the freedom from fear. These freedoms are not only the cornerstone of democracy, they are the lifeblood of art, of culture, and of basic human dignity. Tonight, we inaugurate the Art by Freedom Award, which honors those rare individuals whose lives and work embody the struggle for those freedoms. This award is a recognition of courage in the face of oppression, of creativity as a form of resistance, and the belief that truth can be spoken through the artistic form. No one represents this spirit more fully than Ai Wei Wei. Through his art, his activism, his unyielding commitment to human rights. Yep, get it going. Wei Wei has shown us time after time that the freedom of expression is inseparable from freedom itself. His work calls on us not only to bear witness, but to act, to safeguard the very freedoms that Roosevelt envisioned for all people globally. It is my profound honor to present Ai Wei Wei, the artist, the myth, the legend, and now a very dear friend, with the inaugural Art by Freedom Award, recognizing a lifetime of service to human rights and artistic expression. Wei Wei. I just want to note that the award is on the granite that this park was built from, which comes from a very specific quarry in North Carolina and caused all sorts of problems with the installation. So I hear it's going to be a blessing instead. Let's sit and have a conversation. I had notes for this, but I left them there and I'm sitting. So we're just going to start out with, where are we? What does this installation mean to you? Where is it in your artistic practice? And how does it foreshadow what you're working on?
It sounds very serious, and it's such a nice day. A nice day. We don't need even language here, sunshine, the wind, and rivers, the water flowing. So should we get into this kind of serious discussion?
We could get into a serious discussion, or we can keep it light. What do you want to talk about?
I think everybody's happy. The happy mood here. Seems we did the right thing to set up some kind of conditions for people to enjoy, and maybe also have some deeper thinking about our time and why we still need art and all those things. Or maybe we don't need art, but still it's a nice day, and it's nice to see so many old friends, new friends. Some already come far away from international different locations. But to make some works in New York City is always a challenge. I did work a few years ago. Good friends make good neighbors with public art found in New York City, and it shows how profound the city have an impact on my life. I spent about 12 years in the United States, but 10 years in the city. Remember that 10 years, not 12 years, I never went back to see my family. So I consider New York was my last location to visit, But at that time I don't notice so many helicopters flying over. It's very strange because I just come back from Ukraine and Kiev and other cities even in the front. But when we hear things like that, it's really scary. But here, I think, must be a happy moment. The helicopters must have diamonds or gold bars in there and shifting, move around, guarantee our democracy, with great values. So, yeah, I'm so happy to be here. And for this great park, Louis Kahn is always architects I admire. One, I was practice architecture for a while, but I already quit. But I did have at that moment deeply loved those masters. I never imagined I can decorate his very profound architecture and in relating to Roosevelt's for freedom ideology, which that is always I do care and I do working or fighting in defending those values. So it's heavy to come back to the city, but I present very light work. I think it's easy to enjoy, but have maybe different layers of meanings.
I want to go back to what you said about making a light work. There's cats involved in the camouflage. And one of my favorite quotes from you, and you're very quotable. We got another guy in a jacket. We're gonna start selling these. Wait. It's gonna be. Everyone's gonna want one. They're fabulous. One of my favorite quotes from you is, "The natural instinct to save a cat is what it means to be a citizen." Can you talk about what you mean by that?
Well.
Do you remember saying it?
I don't remember, but it's okay. I can accept that. As a human, we dominate this planet, right? And longer we dominate, less other species exist. This is obvious, daily. They're disappearing. But if we say all men or women created equal, I should say all life created equal. This is under the sun, or all life are precious. But very often we forget about that. We always think we're being chosen by the God, but we forget those animals. And they're beautiful, but they always victimize in tragics, human tragics or man-made tragics, war or famine or even pandemic. So they're the one being blamed of, and they're the one being sacrificed. So I personally, I have a privilege rescued many cats and dogs are living with us, over 40 of them. And they're so kind, and they're, they become a teacher of life to me. So I feel grateful. If I have to make a camouflage, I would use their image. And I'm not in favor with real camouflage images. So I said the cat would be fitted that very well. So we have a lot of cats, over 10,000 cats images around us. And I feel pretty happy about this surface covered the concrete environment for a moment, short moment, maybe 2 months, maybe less than 2 months, depends on how strong the wind is. Yeah.
The elements may not be kind, so enjoy today, please. This is moving from light to less light, but what do you see as the biggest challenge facing freedom of expression and artists today?
Well, I often act like a doctor trying to give out some kind of I don't know. I think freedom of speech in my life is always something you have to fight, or you have to protect. I never think that should be given as a so-called freedom. Freedom means you need to defend it. So now we see, especially I get the general feeling in the United States, we think we lost the opportunity, even in universities, in publishing, in media. Many things cannot be mentioned, many truths has to be covered, and all the facts have been altered. So I would ask what would be wrong, why first, why people have to do that? Second, what will be the effects to the society? I think that certainly would make a society weaker and make us much less informed intellectually. So very difficult to make a right argument. So we just make the whole society getting with no confidence because we don't trust the what we get anymore. So many media which not provide correct information. So when the society lost essential trust, so we think that kind of society become not honest, and that is how all the troubles begins.
Let's just talk, because we unfortunately have to close. I could do this forever, typically in your studio with a pot of tea, but we have to close, and I wanted to just ask one more thing to clarify for the crowd. In the room at the very end of this installation, there is a Ukrainian phrase in neon in the ceiling. Tell me what it means. You don't have to say it in Ukrainian, but tell me what it means and why it was important for you to put it where you did.
Well, there's a neon, and as Ukrainian people or even people understand Russian language or Ukrainian language, they always argument to say it's not the same. But the basic meaning in direct translation is for someone is war, and for someone else is dear mother. So I said, why dear mother? So that means war always benefits someone, so someone would be very happy to have the war. So this is all the same, but it tells some kind of truth. Otherwise, we cannot really intellectually understand why war is going on. As so many lives have been sacrificed, and but seems it's not going to stop, and maybe more war, or maybe World War III will start. Very possible. And so if human society have any consciousness, we have to stop the war. We have to protect the life. You know, otherwise we have nothing else to ask. Thank you.
Thank you. I am so grateful for the last year and the process of putting this together and being a part of your triumphant return to New York City. Thank you, Wei Wei.
Thank you. It's not an easy project. It's not easy for the park because it's not an art institution, and but they're handling it so well, and they even ordered the beautiful weather for today.
Yeah, we did.
This is very
We had a quick
difficult,
convo
very
with God
difficult to
earlier.
do.
Yes.
But thank you so much.
Yes, of course. So now, for our next act, I want to introduce the CEO of this park, who has worked so hard and so tirelessly to produce this with Ai Wei Wei, and they're having a private conversation, and it looks like they're having a good time, so I'm going to leave them alone for a second. Burgeoning bromance, y'all. I mean, look at the smile on his face. All right. Wait, you have to give him back. Howard. Yes. Yes. Next up, the CEO of the Four Freedoms Park Conservancy, Howard Axel.
Not an art institution. Thank you.
Yes, he's rebranding himself as an international art curator very late in life. But there is one dog in the camouflage.
Yeah.
It is a Mexican hairless dog. And someday, if you give Howard enough cocktails, he'll tell you how he got it. It's a true story.
No Doug Howard.
No dog Howard.
No Doug
All
Howard.
right. Thank you, Howard.
Okay, we're going from the sublime to the slightly more ridiculous. When I started working with Ai Wei, again, not a curator, not an art institution, I talked about all these different companies we were going to hire, and he said, it'll take 2 or 3 people to do this. You're being ridiculous. This is just here's the idea, and just you do it. And so he was right. I just didn't know that I needed 2 or 3 or 4 or 7 really viciously aggressive, amazing, talented, incredible people. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to thank them. I'm going to start off with my staff, Katrina Pence and Zoe Kierman. This is like the Emmys, I never got an Emmy. I also really need to thank the Roosevelt Island Operating Corporation. You're actually, you're in a state park, but this island was leased by Nelson Rockefeller to do some social experiments. And they are a agency that runs the entire island and lets me do all sorts of crazy things here. And I have to send them every vehicle that comes in and out. But it's been such a pleasure working with them, Chief Brown, Chief Amorosa. Where is Inspector Coleman? She gives me the parking spots. So I want to thank them. Taylor Brock, who we borrowed, who we met when we did Eyes in Iran, another crazy project that was protesting how the protesters were being treated in Iran. And we, in 3 weeks, I think, transformed this park with 7 or 8 Iranian diaspora artists, including Shireen Ashad, whose painting was on the grand stairs that a lot of you are sitting on. So thank you, Riak, and they have a new CEO. Hopefully will be as generous to me as the past CEOs have been. And I'm really only up here to introduce Leslie Wright, New York State Parks. She is literally the only reason that in 2018, the steps became the largest pride flag in New York City. She's the only reason that in 2020 we were able to celebrate the 19th Amendment. Anybody know what the 19th Amendment is? Women's right to vote. So it's been an incredible public-private partnership. I think Eleanor and Franklin would really be proud of. When government works, it really works. I mean, this came together very fast, and she has been amazing. Who else am I? Oh, and Rosanna. So when Wei Wei was here in November, and he loved the park and con and all of those things, and I kept saying to him, I'm going to send you the CADs. Again, not a curator, not an architect, not a designer. And then he said, you have cats nearby? And I said, we sure do. And so the Wildlife Freedom Foundation is next door, and there are a lot of cats. And that was a little bit, I think, of the inspiration. At least that's the story I told to PBS the other night, so I hope you don't mind. Wait. And before moving on, there's a gentleman who got called on at the very last minute, one of the heroes of this project, Wes Rosen. And it's a nice full circle because Gina Pilara, Cooper Union, Wes, Cooper Union, so it feels like, and Stephen Martin, who helped build the park, also Cooper Union. I didn't go there. I can't even open a CAD file. So Wes installed, designed that pavilion on which Wei Wei's magnificent art hangs, and can be seen from 3 boroughs, from the air, from the 59th Street Bridge, or Mayor Koch, whatever it's called now, Long Island City, and the FDR. So a big thank you to you, Wes. And we have 2 months to go together because we have to keep tightening the ratchet straps. And we have a weather plan, and thank you for being such a great and instantaneous partner. Okay, Leslie, it's your turn.
Sometimes too little.
Always too much. Howard, thank you for that incredibly generous introduction. Good evening, everybody. I have to do one thing first, and I'm going to go way off script. Do you see those folks up there in green? Those are the people that keep this park clean. All day, every day. I want to thank the New York State Park staff and FDR Freedom State Park. They are awesome. And Angela Stangenberg, our park director, is here somewhere, not visible because she's making things happen. This is a fierce park, and it's fierce because we've got this incredible conservancy with the genius of Howard Axelrod as executive director and everybody who visits. So thank you. Now, what I'm really here for is to, with tremendous pleasure, I have the honor to introduce someone whose leadership has been the absolute heart of this magnificent park. And truly exceptional, one-of-a-kind New York State Park. There's no place like FDR for Freedom State Park. And this person that I'm introducing, you may have guessed, Barbara Shattuck-Cohen, has been with the park since its opening in 2012. Barbara took on the role of board chair when the Conservancy was just barely alive, barely an infant. Not because it was easy, not because it was glamorous, but because she had the absolute conviction of heart and mind that the promise of the 4 freedoms could live in this singular place. Running a nonprofit is never simple, especially a new nonprofit. Barbara brought vision, as mentioned, a genius for hiring an inspired executive director, perseverance, savvy, but let's be honest, she also brought a relentless willingness to fundraise from just about everybody she knew. Friends, family, People all along the way, probably a few perfect strangers, have felt her incredibly persuasive charm. And it works. Here we are. Thanks to her unwavering dedication, this park has grown from a memorial to a cultural landmark, alive with public programs, civic purpose, and grounded in Roosevelt's enduring call for the freedom of speech, the freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Would you please join me in recognizing this incredible woman celebrating the extraordinary service of Barbara Shattuck-Kohn.
Good evening. It's been hard to believe that it's been 13 years since I was asked by the inimitable Ambassador William Vanden Heuvel, our beloved Bill, to serve as board chair of the Four Freedoms Park Conservancy. Okay, I'm short. As many of you know, when Bill asked you to take something on, it was nearly impossible to say no. But in this case, not only did I not hesitate, I was really excited. His vision of a memorial to freedom rising on this extraordinary site was more than compelling, it was necessary. That vision was also shared by Governor Nelson Rockefeller, who originally conceived that this should be a New York State park, built not only to commemorate President Roosevelt's legacy, but to serve generations of New Yorkers and visitors alike. Today, it proudly fulfills that purpose. To serve this organization and this place has been one of the greatest privileges of my life. Over the past decade, I've had the honor of working with a dedicated board and staff to realize the promise of the park, not just as a monument, but as a living platform for civic dialogue, art, and a public life. We've flown a giant pride flag here on the steps, a visual affirmation of inclusion and human rights that was recognized around the world. That moment, created in collaboration with the LGBTQ plus community, generated over 470 million media impressions and reminded us how powerful symbols can be when they're placed in public space with intention. We partnered with Four Freedoms, one of today's most daring cultural collaboratives, to present Eyes on Iran, a call for visibility, dignity, and global solidarity. Like Camouflage, our current partnership, this project demonstrated how Roosevelt's Four Freedoms remain deeply relevant and how artists can create public memory in urgent, provocative ways. We've welcomed neighborhood groups, school children, international visitors, and artists from every background. We've shown what's possible when you invite the public not just to observe, but to participate. And at every step of the way, we've done this in close collaboration with New York State Parks. I want to extend my deepest thanks to Leslie Wright and the incredible team at the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. We were laughing a little bit earlier about some of the adventures we've had, including waiting to get into a meeting at City Hall, where we felt like we were little kids who were put on the bench and just had to wait for quite a while. You have been more than partners, you've been co-creators in making this park a dynamic part of New York City's cultural and civic life. This is a model public-private partnership, and I think Franklin Roosevelt would be proud. To the board, staff, and colleagues who have made this journey so meaningful, thank you. You've been visionaries, doers, and believers. And you reminded me what service truly means. And to the many people who come to this park, who walk our granite spine, who sit in quiet reflection, who bring their children or their questions, you are the reason this park exists. To the donors who year after year have made this work a priority, thank you, and in particular the Vanden Heuvel family. Your commitment has allowed us to build not just a memorial, but a movement. You've helped this space grow into something truly extraordinary. And of course, the wonderful staff I've had the privilege of working with. The first CEO, Sally Menard, who built the park along with Gina Pallara. And then Howard, who brought the programming and made the park become a part of New York City. And along with that, there also, my thanks go to Katrina Pence, who has been here, I think almost longer than anyone, and Zoe Pierman. As I step back from this role, I carry with me the sense of something enduring. This place and what it represents matters. And I know that Four Freedoms are better known and loved because of the work we have done together. Franklin Roosevelt once said, "The only thing that will make this nation great is the people themselves." I believe that. I believe in the American people. I believe in our capacity for hope, and I believe in the future of this park. Thank you for allowing me to serve. It's been a joy and an honor.
Right. Bring it up. Hold it up there. Yeah. Great.
I'm back. We have, and I cannot stress this enough, an amazing closing performance. So I hope you all stick around for this. I'm trying to find my notes because I have to get this right. It is a very big deal. To end our program, I'm delighted to introduce a new performance that is a contemporary variation on Martha Graham's iconic lamentation, which I mentioned earlier. This variation is entitled Opening of Camouflage and was created and will be performed by Peju Chien Pop, the award-winning former principal dancer of the Martha Graham Dance Company. This program was developed in partnership with Graham 100, the centennial celebration of the company, which is coming up in 2026. They're going to do 100 variations of Martha Graham's iconic lamentation, which of course is based on the book of Lamentations in the Bible, which talks about a crumbling city and hopes for resilience. And I think that speaks to the work that Wei Wei has done. Conceived in dialogue with Ai Wei Wei's monumental camouflage installation, the work explores the paradox of concealment and revelation. Enveloped in a fabric tube from Wei Wei's camouflage concept, the dancer's body becomes both a shield and a vessel, obscure yet expressive, confined yet uncontainable. It is set to an original score by the legendary Jacopo Baboni-Scialinghi, whose music responds to breath and gesture. The work unfolds as a meditation on grief, resilience, and the enduring human spirit. The site of the performance, here at Four Freedoms Park, in the room with Franklin Roosevelt as a backdrop, carries a deep symbolic resonance. Martha Graham's dance company and career was profoundly supported by First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, whose championing of the arts paralleled Franklin D. Roosevelt's vision of freedom and democracy. By situating this new variation, the very first of the Graham 100, in this park, dedicated to those ideals, this piece bridges past and present, linking Graham's legacy, Roosevelt's advocacy, and Ai Wei Wei's brilliant contemporary vision. It also includes Wei Wei's Ming furniture from his personal collection, which will be a part of the performance, that he shipped us from Berlin. So I encourage everyone to head to the room at the very end of the park for Peju Chien Pop's performance. Thank you.